That is not Yuta. The latest chapter discussed so much that would be relevant in the upcoming saga of Jujutsu Kaisen that it's difficult to discuss in a single video. However, with Yuta's current situation being explored, there is so much to discuss and how he isn't who we really think he is. I'll be going over spoilers of the latest chapter of Jujutsu Kaisen, so if you don't mind being spoiled or you're caught up with it, keep watching. The latest chapter of Jujutsu Kaisen shows that Yuta is back in his body. It is explained that due to the special link that Yuta and Rika have, after using Hollow Purple within Gojo's domain, Kenjaku's curse technique was exhausted, resulting in Yuta fainting and losing control over Gojo's body. Yuta had assumed that the connection between Rika and himself was lost due to the distance between the two of them. However, as she was cradling Yuta's lifeless body, she was pumping him with reverse cursed energy to keep his body alive, similar to how curses function. After losing control of Gojo's body, a connection between Rika and Okotsu was established, allowing him to return to his original body. But is it really that simple? Kenjaku's curse technique is still a conundrum, with little information being shared about how he really transfers from one body to another. Even with the two hosts that we are aware of, Kaori and Geto, there has not been any establishment of whether the person needs to be alive or dead to be controlled. It can be assumed that Kaori was dead prior to Kenjaku's involvement, as Yuji's grandfather, Wasuke, stating that she is not who Yuji's father, Jin, really thinks she is. We can also confirm that Gojo had definitely killed Suguru after the night parade incident. Therefore, I believe it's safe to assume that the person's body must be dead prior to their body being controlled. We can also confirm that Yuta wasn't dead prior to performing Kenjaku's curse technique. During the application of Kenny's curse technique, Yuta used it to transfer from his body to Gojo's. Therefore, it's 100% Yuta that was using Gojo as a vessel. However, there was no way for him to jump back to his main body after suffering from burnout. How can he suddenly be restored back into his own body? We are also unsure on whether or not the brain transfusion must be performed between the switching of hosts. If that is the case, then how did Kenjaku move from host to host without an accomplice? Similarly, does that mean that the person must be close to the activation of the person who has the curse technique for the switch to happen in the first place? All of this has been purposefully hidden from the reader to ensure that we would not suspect Yuta is not himself. Kenjaku is currently using Yuta's body as his host, and this was his plan all along. The piece of evidence that suggests this to me is Yuta's scar across his forehead. I think of this as a binding vow of the activation of Kenjaku's curse technique to show that the person who's currently controlling the body is not who we really think he is. I have also thought that if Rika was really healing Yuta's body with reverse curse energy while he was away, then there would not be a scar on it. This has been shown in numerous occasions where other sorcerers have used reverse curse technique to heal their wounds, such as Gojo, Sukuna, and Kenjaku, which did not result in a scar being left. The only instance that I can think where a scar has been left was when Gojo had first learned reverse curse technique against Toji. We have seen Kenjaku use 3 different bodies in the manga so far: the unnamed man in Kashimo's past, Kaori, and Geto, and all 3 of them suffered from a scar across their forehead as a sign of being controlled. Do we really think that it's that hard for Kenjaku to pull this off? I don't believe so, as we are already aware that he's able to assimilate the behaviors of his host, with only a select number of people realizing that he is in control. Wasuke noticing that Kaori was being controlled, and Geto Suguru's adopted daughters noticing that he is no longer Geto. Anyway, what is Kenjaku's plan now that he has Yuta's body? Firstly, I believe it's in line with what Geto's plan was in the first place, to take over Rika. As Kenjaku's body hops from one person to another, he seems to be able to retain the curse technique of his previous host. If that is the case, then he currently does have Geto Suguru's curse technique. That would leave him with 2 different options. The first option is for him to use Rika as Yuta has for the past year, keeping her as a companion, or he could ingest Rika and force control over her as a cursed spirit. With the latter, her power could potentially become more potent, with the binding vow of 5 minutes being nullified, and she can provide Yuta's body with cursed energy and her cursed technique as much as Kenjaku would need. Conversely, with supposed Kenjaku assimilating Yuta's behavior, he could force Megumi to pass over Tengen to enact his plan on performing the merger. Regardless of whether or not Yuta is being controlled, something fishy is going on and I don't like it. With Kenjaku's cursed technique still not being explained, we have yet to see how someone can carry on his will as he stated. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe and leave a like. I'll see you in the next video.